Well, obviously this was the week we were supposed to play Colorado State, the 3rd and 5th. When that got postponed, we decided to take the opportunity to play games instead of sitting until the Arizona State game. So we're going against St. Catherine's tomorrow. We were supposed to play San Diego Christian. We're in finalizing another Division I game maybe instead on Sunday, but we're still working on details. So hopefully we can have some kind of release on that later today or tomorrow. But scheduling, this is scheduling during the COVID times. And my assistant coach has got 2 calls this week from other high major schools that want to know if we would take money to come play them. So everybody's in search of games, even though you hope your schedule's set. I think we all know that you have to be flexible, and that's what we're doing in adding these 2 games this week.
Hey, Brian, in terms of the non-conference game you're looking at, is that a Division I? Is that a road game? Is that a big payday game? And then I also have a follow-up.
No, the Division I game we're trying to add Sunday is a good team that will come to us, play at Viejas Arena, hopefully. Details to follow. But San Diego Christian was supposed to play us. We appreciate them. And who knows, we may end up playing them this year down the road. But I just felt we wanted another Division I team if we could get one. It looks like we have something that's close. And I think that will be better for our team and at this time, leading into a very good Arizona State the following week.
The fact that you won both these games out of the gate and the way you played with the intensity and the depth and everybody contributed, what surprised you most in games 1 and 2? Did you expect this to be this good this early?
Our defense, Lee, is ahead of our offense, and you would hope that would happen. We spend the majority of our time on defense in practice, and it kind of showed. And so I'm not surprised our defense was good. Offensively, I think we have a lot of room to grow. And that's the good news, that as good as we were, there's room to improve in both areas. So we will continue to try to do that on a daily basis in practice, and hopefully our best basketball is still ahead of us.
Coach, you mentioned after both games, obviously you were pleased with your performance, but you felt like there was a lot to teach to. What specifically are some of the areas you want to see yourself improve, particularly against St. Catherine's, a team that, obviously isn't going to be the caliber of the opponent that you just faced, but what are some of the things that you say you focus on us that specifically you want to see improve in those games?
It's a lot of the same stuff. It's ball screen defense. So much of basketball's setting ball screens, and we worked on some things yesterday in practice as far as trying to dictate what way people go on their ball screens, play them in a variety of ways, being able to jump out and double a ball screen, being able to send it out further out the floor and recover back to our man. And so we have so much we have to still do that we're working on. And I know this may sound strange, but at some point I'd like to play some zone this year. So we have to find time in practice where we can continue to work on a zone defense. I think that will be most important when we play the same team in conference back-to-back, to not let them settle into a rhythm and get comfortable that we can play multiple defenses. So lots to work on, Mark, and we're trying to just fit it into a busy day when we can work on all these different things we need to do better in order to be the team we want to be.
In terms of what you just said about getting offers to play high major programs but on the road for money, why did you decide not to do that?
I just think being able to play at home during these times is so important. And I think with the 2 games we led off with, we played good competition, played well. I don't think we need to go on the road if we can get an opponent to come in here and play us in our home arena. I know we follow up with a trip to Arizona State the following week. So I know that will be a tough trip. So I wasn't looking to go on the road back-to-back games if I could avoid it. And it looks like we have something coming down the road with a Sunday home game, and I thought that was important, that if we could stay at home, not have to travel in these times, I wanted to do that.
We've seen several new faces in Aztec uniform this season. Can you describe to us how all of these new assets have affected the team chemistry on and off the court?
Team chemistry is everything. A culture is everything. And I think our seniors, Matt and Jordan, have done a great job setting the tone They've welcomed the new guys. They've made them feel comfortable. They've told them how we do things in this program. And so our veterans set the tone. And so whether it's Matt and Jordan as seniors, or Adam Seiko, Nathan Mensah, Agwuka Rope as juniors, they let the new guys know what's expected in this program. And there are two types of teams, player-driven teams and coach-driven teams. And player-driven teams are always better. So the less I have to do to talk to them and tell how important the culture is, if the players can do that, it goes miles to helping your team.
Hi, Coach. I was wondering with the scheduling and rescheduling and all that, does that add to your workload and change your daily routine, or is that all on JD's back?
You know, Matt Sawyer, our director of operations, does a good job bringing games to the table. And we're all on the phone. Every assistant coach in the program is jumped on the phone and is seeing who's available. Because you look up and games are getting canceled all the time because one team has COVID. Well, all the teams that were supposed to play them are now available, the ones that are healthy. And so we're on the phone all the time trying to see who's out there, what's available. And then people call us. They want to know, hey, we saw Colorado State got canceled. Are you available to play? And so there's a lot of phone calls made at every level. And then obviously we run everything by John David in administration to see if we can put the game on, if we have the testing available on that game day, if we have the game management staff available to work the arena. And so there's, at every level, people are involved in making these decisions. So I'm just fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of good people, both on my staff and as an administration in this department.
And when would you expect to know about Sunday, and when do you need to know about Sunday?
We're planning on playing this game Sunday. It's all about testing right now, game day testing. We have to find out, can we get the testing people in here on Sunday to do game day testing? When can we get them in? Will that determine what the game time is going to be? And so both teams are locked into playing. And so I would say it's probably 95% certain that this is going to happen. But until we get the testing part of it scheduled, nothing's 100%. So we feel confident we have an opponent for Sunday to play us in Viejas, and now we're just waiting on the testing aspect of that.
Hey, Brian, on a much lighter note, coaches are wearing more casual gear this year. The suits are out. You're 2 games in. You've been in your comfortable wear. What are your thoughts on what you're wearing, and how's it feel?
Well, I went out and bought 2 new suits, so I'm not very happy about it. That's money not well spent. So right now we're wearing coaching gear. So I guess you can hide an extra few pounds under a sweatshirt. So in that regard, it's a good thing.
I know like guys like Patino and Jay Wright are all suited up and they want to keep it going, but this is kind of a topic that some coaches have talked about. Do you think the casual wear is here to stay?
You know, I like representing the university in a suit and tie at times. And so if we get past COVID, we'll see if it goes back to that. I think the NBA sets the trend on that a lot of times too. Obviously, NBA coaches all coach casually in the bubble, and I think the colleges are taking the opportunity to do this now. But I don't mind wearing a suit and tie to represent San Diego State in a professional manner during games also.
Hey, Brian, what did you think of the cardboard cutouts? The fans there, I know there are some familiar faces, kind of a nice touch.
I love it. I've looked around and I see familiar faces, even though I can't say hello to them. So I see cardboard cutouts of people I see every year for the last 20 years, some of them. And so it's fun to see them up there, and I hope fans continue to buy them. I'd like to fill that lower section in cardboard cutouts if we could, and they're available. I think if you go to goaztecs.com, then maybe there's still a link up where you can buy a cardboard cutout and put yourself in the stands.
Hey, Coach, to be clear real quick, are you able to tell us who you may be playing on Sunday since it's 95% sure?
I don't want to do that, because I just want to wait until it's official. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and all of a sudden we get it out there and then we've had to change it. So I'll keep that under my hat until we do an announcement.
And then with that being said, I think when sports first returned initially, everybody was saying, these seasons may have an asterisk by them, that, it's going to be different than any year. But do you find this year to be more challenging than any year ever, and that whoever wins a championship in these years deserve it more so than years past?
I just think we'll have some games at the end of the year that play 18, 16 games is all of the 27, and some will play all 27. And then the committee's going to sit there and say, Are we going to put a team in that played 16 games this year? Didn't play a full 27. So I think the challenge is to what's the criteria going to be at the end of the year to determine if you're an NCAA team or not. If we're fortunate enough to play the event, I don't think we're naive enough to think that these numbers aren't going up and that any of us could be shut down for 2 or 3 weeks at any time, a national shutdown. So I think we're just grateful to be on the floor anytime we can, trying to play, represent San Diego State the right way, and then we'll just deal with it as it comes.
And then one more thing to be clear, that the game with San Diego Christian, you guys just wanted to play a D1 opponent. It had nothing to do with COVID for canceling that game or moving that game.
No. And who knows? We may still end up playing them with the way the season goes. I like to play the local teams and give them a chance to come into Viejas and play us. So I think that's a good thing. So we just have that game on hold. It might be revisited and played later in the year based on what happens.
Thank you, Coach. I wanted to ask you about Gomez and his role on the team and what you saw from him the first 2 games. He obviously shot a lot more coming from Northridge, and he only averaged 6 shot attempts the first 2 games. And I wanted to see if you'd like to see that go up or if you thought he played well in the flow of the game.
I've been saying from the start that Terrell's come in here and tried to fit in, almost to a fault, where he's passing up shots that I wish he'd take. So I think as we continue to play and he gets more comfortable, I think you'll see his shot attempts go up. But I think we also see that we're playing 10 players. And so 8 shots in a game might be a lot if you're only playing 20 minutes or 22 minutes. So the thing I like about this team right now is our depth. And I think everybody that's out there deserves to be out there. So the interesting thing to me as a coach is not shots, but can I continue to play 10 guys and keep all 10 guys happy and comfortable within what they're doing? And that's the challenge. So Terrell's playing well. He can shoot it anytime he wants. All my guys I give the green light to. I just want him to take the right shots. I want him to share the ball if they have 2 on him and play the right way. And if they're playing the right way and they feel they can get a shot up, I'm in favor of Terrell taking as many as he wants to take.
Thank you. So with the depth that you were talking about, how important is like a game St. Catherine's for establishing what the rotation would be, maybe VCB practice? Just how important do you weigh that game?
St. Catherine's is important in the fact where we're going to try to work on some different things and see them under game competition. I talked about the way we play ball screens, or we're trying to get a zone in. This might be an opportunity against a team that runs good stuff. They execute well, but to give us a chance to go against someone and give a few different looks that we haven't been able to give in our first 2 games. So maybe we'll work on some things that we haven't seen yet and see how they look under game situation with officials in a game situation.
Hey, Brian, 32-2 since last season, and you're still not ranked anywhere in the top 25. You offended, and how could it be that way?
It's a national poll, Lee, and unfortunately, we don't yet have the national reputation we'd all like. I think in the state of California or on the West Coast, I think people really know what a job we've done here, starting with Steve Fisher, and unfortunately, when I took over, that we've had good programs and good teams, and so we have to gain more national attention, Lee, and that's hard to do when you're on the West Coast. We all know that.
And to follow up, in terms of the canceled Colorado State game, what's the discussion like as to when you might get that game or 2 back, or is that off the books?
The Mountain West has kind of left a 10-day window at the end of the regular season before Vegas to kind of fit games back in. And so that would be a time we'd look to maybe make those games up. But with that being said, if we get 2 or 3 other series that are canceled, we'd have to decide who we want to play in that last week of the season. And I think that has to be factored in. If you're in an NCAA hunt, a chance for an at-large bid, you want to play the highest RPI team available at that time. And so as much as I'd like to say Colorado State is going to fit in there, and they are right now, I think if we get 2 or 3 series canceled, we'd have to look and decide what's best for our program at that time of the year.
Coach, what do you think of the play so far from your 3 freshmen in the first 2 games?
Obviously, Lamont Butler's got the majority of the minutes, and he's been very good. He guards very physically at a high level. He's a very good point guard that can find his teammates. And then he knocked down an open 3 in a layup against Irvine. So he's growing his game. Keith Dinwiddie got 3 or 4 minutes, and he had 2 threes right away. So he is a scorer deluxe. I mean, I could put him out there for 20 minutes. He might have 14 points. But Keith has to continue to grow his game at the defensive end. He has to learn how to play with his teammates, and that will happen. But Keith is going to be an all-conference player down the road, in my opinion. And then Che Evans is, he was a little banged up early in the year. I talked about he had a hip problem, so he's still getting his timing back, learning how to play with others. But Che works hard every day in practice, continues to grow his game. So the key is keeping everybody happy, seeing the big picture, that maybe the minutes will or won't be there. I don't know their freshman year. But if they stick with it and continue to do the things the right way, they all have a chance to be really good players in this program and beyond.
And then could tomorrow be an opportunity potentially for some extended minutes for 1, 2, or 3 of those guys?
If we're playing well. I mean, if we play well and we build some kind of lead where I'm comfortable putting them in there, they'll have a chance to play. But the flow of the game and how we're playing will dictate that. I'm not going naive enough to say we're just so good we're going to go out and just walk over anybody we play. The opponent is ourselves. We have to play up to our standard. And if we do that, then they may have opportunity to play.
Just had one quick follow-up on Terrell, and you kind of had the same situation with KJ last year, a guy who had averaged 17, 18 points at his previous stop and came to San Diego State because he wanted to win. How hard is that for the player to make that transition from being a big-time scorer to kind of putting that in the back seat and just winning? And how do you sort of weed that out in the recruitment process? Because obviously you don't want a guy who expects to do the same thing and take all the shots. But how do you kind of determine that, and how hard is it for the player to do that?
It's a balancing act. I mean, we take these players because they show they can score at an elite level. So we want Terrell to come in here and score the ball. Now, maybe it'll drop to 10 or 12 points a game instead of 18 or 19 because maybe he's playing on a more balanced team that he doesn't have to score as much. And that's what KJ told me when he came. Coach, I'm scoring because I have to score here. I'd rather be more of a playmaker. Terrell has come here. He wants to win, and that's why these players come here. They want to win at the highest level. So to win, obviously, you have to sacrifice. So maybe he's sacrificing part of his offensive game in order to win. And so he has to pick and choose like all good players do. When is it my turn to score and when is it my turn to be a playmaker? And he's finding that balance right now, and I'm extremely pleased. I mean, it was him who threw the lob pass to Keshad on the play. He came in maybe at Northridge he'd have taken that shot. But he saw Keshad, he threw it up to the rim, and Keshad caught and dunked the ball. So I think Terrell's growing his playmaking ability here. He's playing off more ball screens here than he was allowed to play off at Northridge, and so he's getting comfortable with that too.